Guys, Anthony Michael here with Texas Chainsaw Restorations. I know it's a little late, uh, but to be honest with you, I'm a little under the weather. I've got a really bad sinus infection, and I, I'm not really sleeping too good. I'm not too tired, just because it's kind of hard to sleep when you can't breathe out of your nose. So, out of boredom, out of being bored and feeling sick, I figured we do a little live stream here. Nothing serious, but it's something that I've been considering doing for a couple weeks now. Hey, what's up, brother? Good to see you, Mike. That's my man, Mike. I know I told y'all that I would never restore this saw, and I meant it. I am not going to restore this. I know it's a later model, but this is one of my favorite saws in my collection, just because I've always had a soft spot for this version of the later model, and this one's in phenomenal shape. And it's one of very few saws that I've owned that I actually got from the original owner, that came with all of its parts like this. I mean, for it to still have this bar on it, chain and all, very low hours. It's got all its paint on the front. Uh, I think a lot of the wear and tear on it is literally just from it being stored and stuff like that. But the one thing we're going to do, not restoring it, I do want to regrip this handlebar though. I do. Uh, the chunks that are missing out of it kind of are driving me nuts. And I'm 1000% confident that I can match the grip exactly the way it is here. And I'm going to be super careful about it, because what we're going to do is I'm going to get the measurements, the exact measurements on the cuts here as well, from the bottom to here and on this side down here. So that way I can match it 100% and it'll look as good as new. It is pretty chewed up though. You can see this happens when something hits it. It could have been it could have been a tree, it could have been another tool in his garage, could have been anything. But we're going to replace it. Figured it'd be a good time to do it, since can't sleep, not feeling good, sinus infection sucks. So we're going to start like this. We're going to kick off clutch cover. Yeah, this sucker is super clean, and I didn't pay a lot for it. I got it for 150 bucks. Guy bought it brand new in 73. I mean, look at that, still, look how green that is, man. It's awesome. Pop off the bar and chain really quick. Yeah, and the cool thing is when I got it, it really didn't need that much work. He said that his dad had tinkered around with it, and after a while he kind of gave up. But all it needed, all it needed was a carburetor rebuilt. So I rebuilt the carburetor, put new fuel lines in it, and a new fuel filter. And to be honest, this is one of the best running saws I own too. Runs really well. As you can see, like, it still has all the dirt in it and all. I didn't even take it apart to clean it. This thing's all original, baby. I'm gonna leave it just like that. No restoration happening to this one. Now, I hate to say it, if I get any more, almost every super later model that I get that has the thick white numbers, the big bold 245, that's from 73 up to 1980 when they were discontinued. Most of those saws I restore into early models, just because they're so plentiful. Like, I'm betting this is the first time this handlebar has been taken off of the saw since it's been manufactured. I guarantee you. A lot of these saws, it's like that. You know, they, first time this sucker's been taken off since it's been built. Let's crack the other one loose. Back it out with my drill. We'll make it go faster. Alright, we're going to put the hardware over here. And we can move the power head. Yeah, let's look here. This is not like a Frankenstein saw. It's a real 245A. Put that over there. Now we need a razor blade. Also, I'm not going to clean this handlebar off that much. I mean, we'll see. Depending on what the underside of this looks like. Sometimes I'll have to sand it a little bit just to get the new grip to fit over it. But like I said, I want this saw to stay original as possible without jeopardizing any of its patina or age. So yeah, we're gonna get the measurements here with a little tiny ruler. Somebody says, I want to buy it. How much? Unfortunately, not for sale. Yeah. So, guys, I do not sell any of the saws that I have in my personal collection. I only sell restored saws. So these are the ones in my personal collection here. These are early models from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I sell saws that look like this. Basically what they are, they're these saws painted to look like those. But yeah, this won't be for sale. But if you follow my Facebook page, Texas Chainsaw Restorations on Facebook, when I do sell a restored saw, I will list it there. So if that's something that you're interested in, check on there. I'll be honest, I really can't tell you when the next restoration is going to go up because I've been so busy with work and all. You know, I've got a few saws lined up to grab and sell, but you know, it takes more than money, guys. You know, that's the thing. If that was the only issue, there'd be no issue. But it's more than money. It's time, patience. Ariana, do you know where my razor blade is?
Nope.
You haven't touched it.
Nope.
All right, so I guess we're gonna have to do this with an X-Acto knife because I can't find my razor. First, let's get our ruler. We're gonna get the marks. Use the other side. So basically what we're gonna do to get these cuts is I'm gonna measure from this end to here to the cut, so that way when we re-grip it, we know where to cut it. Because we want it to match perfectly. Not close, but perfectly. I'm gonna mark it with a pen because I can't read that or see it. And I don't have glasses or anything, so that's great. So we got the mark for the clutch side. We're going to do it like this for this side. It's a little different. To get the handlebar to sit straight up. So that's about 3 1/4. So 2 3/4, and then let's, all right, perfect. So now we got it marked. We got our measurements. We can cut this off. I like to cut from the inside so you don't scratch the outside of the handlebar. This stuff is pretty sturdy, so be careful when you do it. Now the super later model versions that have the thick foam rubber, that stuff's easy to cut off because it's like really soft. This is heat shrink, and it's like a plastic. It's like a hard plastic. And the early model versions are even harder to take off. I don't think I've only done that twice. The early model versions where just this part is dipped. It's you gotta like shave that off. It's almost like peeling a carrot. See, look, it snaps. Boom. Comes right off. As you can see, this is like it's like a thin plastic material. See? Very similar to what we're about to put on it. But then the early version here. Here's an early style handlebar. The early style versions are like a thick dipped rubber, you see, and you cannot cut this off as easy as I cut this off. Like, this doesn't come off in one piece. So the way they actually made these was they dip it like this into an adhesive first. Once that adhesive started to dry a little bit, they would dip it in the material, and the stuff they dipped it in before they put the grip in it was something to help this material stick to it better. That's why a lot of them, you can peel up the very edge, and then that's it. The very edge will peel up, and then there's it's like glued on basically for the rest of it. So the only way to take this off is literally shave it off in pieces. So this was the most sturdy handlebar grip that they ever made for these saws. But it wasn't the most comfortable, which is why they changed it. And also, you got to remember too, this is before any kind of anti-vibration saws and the counter-vibe saws. It's before all that. So I mean, you're holding on to this metal, and it's just vibrating the hell out of your hands. Especially this one here. I don't know why they went from something thick like this to something cheaper and thinner. But and also these ones, this holds up the best. Most early model handlebars that have this type of grip on them, they're still in one piece. They're not hanging off. Like I said, sometimes you'll see little holes in them, and the edges will be kind of tore up a little bit. But for the most part, they're all still intact. It's the super later model versions that have the thick foam rubber. Those ones you always see they dry rot. They dry rot and peel off super easy, but they were way more comfortable because they were a lot thicker, and they went all the way around like this one. So anyway, let's move on. As you can see here, that's where the damage was on the handle grip. So we're gonna clean this up just a little. We're not gonna clean up anything from here down. We're gonna leave it original. That's how we want it. You know, same thing on this side, but a lot of this we're gonna clean up. So we're gonna get a rag, some carb cleaner, and a little bit of sandpaper. Because that's gonna help us get the handle grip over it pretty easily, along with some WD-40. And I'll show you what the WD-40 is for in just a second. Okay. Got us a rag here, a towel, spray some carburetor cleaner on it. Wipe this down. Get any of that excess adhesive off. Okay. Excuse me. All right, now let's take our sanding block. We're just going to smooth it out just a little. Want to be careful not to go too far. Now, if you guys want to know how to do this and make the early model handlebar wrap, I actually have a 2-part video here on the channel to show you how to do that if you're making a Leatherface replica. I show you how to measure it and cut it and all that. Or you can hang around for this too, but if you're making this style wrap, it's very specific instructions on how to make it look exactly like that. So you'll have to watch that video if that's what you want to do. But this is just for me and one of my personal saws. So that's it. We're done with that part. Here's the grip. Now, here's something crazy, right? So when I first started doing this and I first started restoring saws, I tried everything, trying to replicate the early model version. I spent a ton of money on, at first somebody told me to use Plastidip, and I did. I bought it at Ace Hardware. I bought the kind you spray, and I bought the kind that you dip. Both gave me very, very bad results. And then I invested a little more money, and I bought some industrial strength Plastidip, basically stuff you had to heat up. It was very toxic. That was closer, but it's still, even with one dip, it was too thick. It was way too thick of a material. Best stuff, turns out, was heat shrink tubing, 1/4 inch that I got from Amazon for $8. I get all of this. One pack of this does about 10 saws for me. And this is, I think, maybe the 4th or 5th pack that I've gone through. Yeah, this stuff is the closest to the original. Of course, you have to put an acrylic over it to give it that shine. But here you go. Here's one that I regripped versus an original here. You know, it's the closest you're gonna get. You know, obviously you can tell this is original because it's banged up and stuff, but other than that, I mean, it's right on the money. You get that cut down and all. So that's what we're going to be using today. enough of them that I don't know how much I need. But because this is a later model version, we're going to need a little more. So I'm going to go, let's say, about here, about right here. That should do us right there. That right there's plenty. Put this aside. This back of the paper, plastic. Sometimes I pre-cut them and put them in my heat gun box, but the reason I stopped doing that is for the very rare occasions like this where I end up doing a later model wrap. You know, you obviously need a little more for the later model than the earlies. So, I mean, what the hell? Save myself a few seconds by cutting them all, have them pre-cut, but I don't need to do that. $8 on Amazon, guys. Now, we get our heat gun ready. Oh, there's my razor blade I was looking for earlier. It's in the, it's in the box. Make it a little loud. Yo, what's up, Ivan? Good to see you, buddy. MP Reaper in the house. Alright, unplugging the phone temporarily so we can plug the heat gun in. Now, while the let the heat gun go, get hot, turn it this way. And while we're waiting for that to get nice and hot, show you how to get this on the handlebar easy. That's where the WD-40 comes into play. Just a little squirt inside. You don't want to put too much, because if you spray too much inside of here, when you're heating it up, the oil gets super hot and then it like bubbles and then explodes out of the side of the handlebar. So you don't want that. That's happened to me a few times. That's all you need is that little squirt, and you kind of just work it through like this. That's it. Make sure there isn't any extra in there. Start from this side, twist it on, and just work it onto the handlebar. Boom, you're done. See, look at that. I mean, this is going to stretch. Like, this is going to stretch a lot. So, we're going to flip this over. Might be hard for you to see what I'm doing because I need two hands, but basically I'm going to make sure that the heat is here, start in the middle, and I'm going to pull outward like this away, and then start heating that way. Because you have to stretch on this or else you're going to get wrinkles in it. You got to pull like a son of a bitch. So, we'll start here. See how I got just the center part? You don't want to start heating here and then here because then you get a bubble. So start in the middle and then work your way out this way or this way. It's totally up to you. And you're pulling on the grip as you go to stretch out the wrinkles. Now, if you want to, you could definitely use pliers to help, but I've found that when I do that, it tends to rip. As the heat shrink starts to heat up, it becomes weaker, and then it ends up tearing. So that's why I don't use pliers, although I have in the past. Boom. This side. Work our way up again. Heating the other side. Just like that. So that side's done already. I want to let it cool down a little bit so I can grab on it again. It's a little hot. And we're going to work our way down the other way. Don't forget to cool as you go. Extremely important. There is a way to get the bubbles out if you do accidentally get a bubble. But I will tell you though, even when you fix it, it still doesn't set up right. I'm still going to check for bubbles when I'm done. But, alright, looks like we got a good solid seal on this. One side twisted a little. Let's see if I can get that out. Yeah. Side. Alright. She's done. We can unplug this heat gun. We want that to cool down. Don't put it back in the box until it's cool, or else it'll burn your burn your box, or you could burn the wire. But yeah, see, no bumps, no wrinkles. That's it. Let's see. Okay. Let me set this gun off to the side for just a minute. Now we can go back to some more careful stuff. There's our razor blade. And remember, we made our measurements earlier. Let's cut off this excess, the excess wrap. Don't hurt yourself when you do it. I've hurt myself so many times doing this shit. Burned myself. Okay, but yeah, like I was saying, if you ever do get a bubble for some reason while you're doing this, like this one came out good, there's no bubbles. A good trick to get rid of it is you take your razor blade, just the corner of it, or a really sharp thing, poke a hole in it, and then hit it with the heat gun really quick, and it'll help the air escape. But don't hold it there too long, because then that little pin-sized hole you made will actually start to open up, and then you'll have a big hole in it. So that's why it's best to just try your best to avoid making any bubbles. All right. There's our ruler earlier with our measurements on it, so I can't pick up because I just clipped my fingernails. All right, so now we remember that this side we marked 2 1/4. All right, so let's find our mark for 2 1/4. My razor blade, make a small mark. That's it. Just a little scratch for now. Show you why we're not cutting it right off the bat. Because there's something we need to do to make sure it comes out perfect. This one was almost 3 inches. That was right here. Make our cut. Little mark. Boom. Now, I had a bunch of small black rubber bands, but obviously it was really hard to see it. So my little daughters were nice enough to give me a bunch of their little hair ties that are very colorful, you know, so I can see the cut a whole lot better with this against black rather than black on black. Now this is not nearly as intricate as doing the early model handlebars, because when you do the early model handlebars, you got to replicate the dip. The reason why it's flush straight across like that is because it was dipped, you know, and liquid or water is a natural level. So to replicate that straight cut here, you really got to place that rubber band perfectly, because I see a lot of people that just cut one and they cut it around like this. They cut with this rather than get it straight across like that. That's where these rubber bands are very, very helpful, because you can get it exactly the way you want it first and use the rubber band as a guide with your razor blade to get the perfect cut. Now I've measured the early model versions as well, so this is 100% accurate. This one, on the other hand, you are following the actual handlebar, because this was not dipped, this was heat shrinked. So now we find our cuts, the little cut we made here, the rubber band. Sure, if you are confident in that you can cut it straight one time around without the rubber band, then be my guest and go ahead. I like to make sure that I get it all right on the first try, and I do it nice and neat. You know, I don't want to have to go back and do something again if I don't have to, you know. Also, if you're not sure if you measured right, cut on the outside of the rubber band instead of on the inside, because, you know, you can always take more off. You can't put more back on. So even when you're doing the early model handlebar, if you think your measurements are wrong, cut off more instead of cutting off less, you know? Okay, so there it is. See, I've got it. I don't know if you're going to make that out on camera, but it's right there on the cut. I'm pretty confident in my measurements. So take this razor blade out. Get good pressure on it. I'm actually going to cut on the outside just to be safe. Just press. Use that rubber band as your guide. I like the placement. Looks straight, looks nice. Keep following that rubber band. Just twist the handlebar. Boom. Now we can remove it. Score it on the inside. About right here. This is a weird spot. Score. And peel. Don't want to scratch this. Okay, where's the cut? Alright, fine. It wants me to cut it again. See how close? Bam. Now, same thing on the other side. We find our cut. There it is. Band on it. Most of the time, it'll lay straight on its own, you know, but play with it a little bit. Make sure it's straight all the way through. Move it around. It's just good to have it as a guide so you don't have to go back and cut it twice, you know? Send to Brazil. I'll sell another one soon, don't worry. It won't be one out of my collection, though. I don't know, never say never. I was thinking maybe getting rid of one of them, but I've already gotten rid of 4 out of my collection. I think that's enough. And the only reason I got rid of them was to make room for other ones that I wanted even more. But as far as my personal collection, I just actually posted a video of it. I don't have any restored saws in my collection. And I was thinking about, there was a few that I've made over the last year or so that I really liked, that I would like to make another one of for myself. Like I made a Hansen saw, which was like a concept saw based off of the video game. Made 2 of them. The first one I made, it was as close to the game as I could make it, and then the second one was a concept saw. It was a mixture of the video game and the movie saw together. And I really liked it, so I think I might make myself one of those. Now look, boom, we're done. Oh, cut that little piece off there. And there you have it. She's re-gripped. No holes. No chunks missing. Now I've got an acrylic lacquer that I'll spray on this to make it shine like that. This is the same material, but once the acrylic hits it and it hardens up, it's fuel and gas resistant. It's perfect. I use this on all the saws that I restore, and it looks perfect. But that's all there is to it, y'all. I mean, regrip your handlebar one way or another. There you go. Now you can see the measurements were right on the money. You can't see the line from the original. So that's perfect. I call that complete right there. So what I'll do now is clean up my mess. Then I'll spray this with the acrylic, let it dry, and then we'll reattach it to the saw, and that's it. That's the end. So thank you guys for watching, hanging out with me. Not sure when I'll post again. I was thinking about taking apart my very first early model saw that I've got. I was thinking about taking it apart and replacing the I actually got a new old stock points and condenser coil. And I mean, this saw, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I understand that, but this is a saw that I'm not gonna sell. So maybe putting that on there would make sense, just so I can ensure that my saw is going to have spark for a long time. But we'll see. If not that, I'm sure something else will pop up. this was something that I've been wanting to do for a little while now, and like I said, I'm kind of sick, sinus infection, can't sleep, so figured we'd do this. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next one, I suppose. Have a good night, y'all.